Recently, there's been a surge in discussion surrounding the Helluva Boss pilot, whether or not it's canon, and how it's impacted the perception of the series as a whole. vivziepop and the team discussed this topic at a recent convention, and today the Helluva Boss pilot was removed from the official episode playlist. In this video, I'm going to talk about the pilot a little, what's happened recently, and also give my thoughts as well. So for the longest time, people have argued whether or not the pilot is canon. Personally, for me, I've always seen it as non-canon since the first episode came out. There are many things in the pilot that are not canon in the show, like Blitzo having two sisters. As we know, this was changed until it became Blitz and Barbie Wire's mother. Millie had a white spot on her hair, which was removed in the full show and instead given to her sister Sally Mae. Millie's voice also changed. And lastly, Stolas' personality was reworked too, with him getting a different personality and voice actor. At a recent convention, Viv and the team were discussing the show, and they revealed some information. The first being something I've theorized for a while, that Stolas was originally a villain. Similarly to Blitz and Moxie, Stolas was originally in Hazbin Hotel and resembled an overlord. When developing Helluva Boss, Vivzie took the character out of Hazbin and remade him in Helluva. At the convention, Viv discussed Stolas' history and his old evil nature, which was best seen in the pilot and promotional art for the episode. However, once she was working on developing it into a series, she thought that Stolas and Blitz could be a cute couple, so she told Brandon Rogers about the idea. He loved it, so it was made into an important plot point in the full show. After the pilot, Bryce Pinkham was casted to be Stolas. Viv said that Bryce brought a different atmosphere to the character, which also changed it a lot. Stolas went from a cold villain, representative of the Ars Goetia, to an emotional, multifaceted character. After this news broke, people went to Twitter to discuss it. There was a mixed reaction. Some people weren't shocked by this revelation. On the flip side, some people were angry because this now meant that they can't use the pilot to criticize the state of the show. Earlier today, the pilot was removed from the official Helluva Boss episode playlist made by Viv. This was basically the final nail in the coffin for the pilot being decanonized. At least to me, it feels like the pilot was removed so that new watchers aren't confused. It's really interesting that this happened right after the convention and the Twitter discourse, instead of a couple of years ago. Personally for me, I'm not shocked by this revelation. Most pilots for animated series aren't canon and are just made as a proof of concept. It's common for the art style and story to change from pilot to full series, and pilots are made to give people a general idea of what the show's going to be like. It seems like a lot of Twitter users straight up don't understand what a pilot is. I think one of the main reasons this is happening is because for the past couple of years, people have slammed the show because of how different the pilot is to the full thing. One popular point is to say the show went from a comedy series to a melodrama. Personally, I can see where this argument is coming from. In a tweet from Viv back in March, she said this: "When I first started Helluva Boss's first season, I really didn't know what the future was for the show. I had some core episode ideas that existed in the Bible I pitched Brandon, and they all became episodes: Lululand, Truth Seekers, and Harvest Moon. From this tweet, we know that 3 episodes were planned from the get-go, with the rest being created to fit around these couple." So, did Vivzie pull a bait and switch? No, I don't believe so. The show obviously changed a lot in development, but the core concepts, characters, and ideas were always present. I did a short about Stolas being a villain, and it was interesting to see the reception. Over on YouTube, people in the comments said they preferred current Stolas rather than the pilot. However, on TikTok, it was the complete opposite, with most people preferring evil Stolas in the pilot. This is down to personal preference, but I think pilot Stolas was better than the final one. It would have been interesting to see Stolas start out as a villain and perhaps slowly work his way to falling in love with Blitz. Whereas in the final show, we know that Stolas loved Blitz as a child, and Blitz has some feelings for Stolas, but is torn on what to do about it. There's always a chance that Stolas could change in the future, with him going from a romantic interest to a villain. I've seen people discuss that Andrealphus was created to adopt Stolas' old personality from the pilot, and I think that's quite interesting as well. I think overall, pilots are good for outlining the core concept of a show, but as time goes on, they end up causing issues. This issue carries over to Hazbin Hotel as well. We've become so attached to the pilot, its cast, and the lore, to the point where when the final show drops, we'll be comparing it to the pilot subconsciously. Small issues are magnified, and we end up forgetting that in many ways, the shows have improved. So overall, I think this topic is quite contentious, and it probably will be until the day Helluva Boss ends. If you have any opinions or disagree with my takes, I'd love for you to leave them in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching.